Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing a Zombie World deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this one for you guys because this deck was actually suggested to me by one of my patrons, Luke. And this deck is an extremely fun deck to play that can summon out all sorts of awesome zombies to help you go in for game. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can come part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. And definitely give Luke some love down in the comments down below for suggesting such an awesome deck. So let's get straight on into this one, guys. So first off, we're playing 2 copies of Doom King Baller Drop. This card is an amazing 2-of boss monster that can come back to the field constantly, with the ability that during the standby phase, if there's a card face up in the field zone, and this card's in the graveyard, you can special summon this card in defense position to your side of the field, which is an amazing ability to get this boss monster back on the field quickly. This card also has the ability that if this card is on your side of the field once per chain, when a zombie monster effect except for Doom King Baller Drop is activated, you can activate one of these 2 abilities that you can either negate that effect or banish one monster from the field of the graveyard, which is a great ability that you can get both of those effects in a turn, but only each of them once per turn. We only have a single copy of Al Ghul Mazrah. Al Ghul Mazrah is great for protecting our zombies because if a zombie monster you control would be destroyed by battle by card effect, you manage to card from the hand or the grave instead. And if this card is banished from the hand or the graveyard, you can special summon this card in defense position, then you can reduce its level by 1, which is a pretty cool ability just to bring out this awesome boss monster while also protecting your zombies. We made a single copy of Chang-Chi. Chang-Chi is awesome because this card is actually a walking Foolish Barrel and a very important combo piece in the deck. Because this card has an awesome ability, if this card is banished, you can actually banish a zombie monster from the grave to special summon this card, but place it on the bottom of the deck when it leaves the field, meaning this card is an awesome combo piece to use with your copy of Ghost Fusion to banish this card to fusion summon it into the Duke of Demise, then just banish a zombie monster in the graveyard to bring this card back to your side of the field, so you can use it to be able to send a zombie from the deck to the graveyard. We made a single copy of Eldritch the Golden Lord. This card is so cool to be able to play in the deck because this card has an awesome ability when you combine it with your copy of Delta of Invitation, as if this card is in the graveyard, you can actually send a spell or trap card you control to the graveyard, which is usually going to be Delta of Invitation, to add this card back to your hand, then special summon a zombie monster in your hand, and if you do, until the end of your opponent's turn, it gains 1,000 attack and defense points and cannot be destroyed by card effects, which is a great ability because you don't have to actually summon out Eldritch the Golden Lord. It can be any zombie in your hand, which is super cool. This card is awesome to be able to play because you can send it to the graveyard with Delta of Invitation, then you send Delta of Invitation from the field to the graveyard to summon this card back, then summon out a zombie to your side of the field, and then Delta of Invitation will actually add itself back to your hand, which is such a cool combo to be able to do. Plus, this card has the ability you can actually send this card and a spell or trap card from your hand to the graveyard, and then actually target a card on the field and send it to the grave, which is a great ability to be able to use to also help you spot move cards off the field. We then played 2 copies of Banshee. Banshee is great as a 2-of in the build to basically just use this card to get to our copy of Zombie World. We then play 3 copies of Volcarine. Volcarine is really powerful in the deck as a 3-of because this card is an awesome ability. If you control a zombie monster, you can special summon this card from your hand, and during your main phase, you can actually return this card from the field back to the hand, and then special summon any zombie monster in your hand to your side of the field, which is such a powerful effect to instantly bring out the exact zombie monster that you need. Plus, this card is a level 4 tuner, which helps us go in for some awesome synchro plays. We then play 3 copies of Unizombie. Unizombie is an amazing 3-of in the build because this card is actually a walking Foolish Burial, can level modulate your zombies, and also helps you discard a zombie as well, which is very cool. We then played 2 copies of Goblin Zombie. Goblin Zombie is crazy powerful in this deck and helps out so much in this build, as this card is a great ability that when this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can actually add a zombie type monster with 1200 or less defense from your deck to your hand, which is a great effect that's actually not a once per turn that you can resolve multiple times in a turn in this deck to basically just use this card to search out the exact zombies that you need. We then played 2 copies of Mizuki. Mizuki is basically a monster born by banish this card from the graveyard. You get to special summon out a zombie from the grave. We then played 2 copies of Gozuki. Gozuki is kind of like your copy of Unizombie, that this card is basically a walking foolish burial that during your main phase, you can actually send a zombie type monster from the deck to the graveyard, but if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can actually banish the zombie monster from the graveyard except a copy of Gozuki to special summon a zombie monster from your hand, which is a pretty cool ability. And then a single copy of Ghost Sleeper. Ghost Sleeper is really cool as a one-of in the build because this card helps out a lot in the deck, because this card can actually search out your copy of Ghost Fusion if it's sent to the graveyard, which is a pretty cool ability. Also, if this card is in the graveyard except the turn it was sent there, you can actually banish this card, discard a card, and then target a banished level 4 higher zombie monster and add it back to your hand, which is a pretty interesting ability. Then we have a single copy of Mad Mauler. Mad Mauler helps out a lot in this deck because this card becomes Plague Spreader Zombie while on the field or in the graveyard. And if this card's in the grave, you can target a level 6 or higher monster that you control, reduce itself by 2, and you special summon this card. Also, the player who summoned it cannot special summon monsters except for zombie monsters while this card is face up in the monster zone, which is easy to be able to get this card off the field by just synchro summoning because it is a level 2 tuner. I'm playing a single copy of Glow Bloom. Glow Bloom is great to be able to use when you have your copy of Zombie World on the field, because if this card is sent to the graveyard when you have Zombie World on the field, you can banish this card and then special summon a level 5 or any zombie monster from your deck, which is such a cool ability to just instantly bring out a level 5 or higher zombie monster from the deck to your side of the field when you summon this card out, which is so cool to instantly bring out cards like Doom King Baller Drop, Chang-Chi, Eldritch Golden Lord, or even a copy of Al Ghul Mazra off this card's effect, which is so cool to be able to do. We then play 3 copies of Assault Synchron. Assault Synchron is a very spicy tech card in this build because this card actually reduces our life points down by 700 to be able to bring this card out to your side of the field, which is a great ability to be able to use because this card actually reduces our life points so we can activate Ghost Fusion, which is amazing. This card is so cool to be able to play in the deck because during the main phase, you can special summon this card in the hand, then take 700 points of damage, but while it's in the monster zone, you cannot special summon monsters in the X deck except for synchro monsters, so you always want to summon this card out to your side of the field when you want to synchro summon. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start with a single copy of Terraforming. Terraforming is great as a one-of in the build because we actually play 2 different field spells. I'm going to get a single copy of Foolish Burial. Foolish Burial is great to help us get the exact zombie we need in the graveyard. I'm going to get a single copy of Ghost Fusion. Ghost Fusion is searchable off your copy of Ghost Sleeper, and this card has the ability to let you fusion summon a fusion monster from your X deck using only zombie monsters you control as material. And if your life points are lower than your opponent's, you can banish up to 1 zombie monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard as a material, which is a great ability to actually banish your copy of Chang-Chi to be able to bring it back to your side of the field so we can summon out the Duke of Demise so we can get an additional normal summon and put 2 level 6 monsters on our side of the field, which is actually super helpful because I have an awesome XZ monster you can actually make using your copy of Duke and Chang-Chi. We then play 2 copies of Delta of Invitation. Delta of Invitation is awesome to play in this deck as a 2-of because this card is when it's activated, you can send a level 5 or higher zombie monster from your deck to the graveyard, with some of the best targets being either Doom King Baller Drop or Eldritch the Golden Gucci Lord. This card also generates us a token on our side of the field, which is great to help us link summon, and also if a monster is added from the graveyard back to the hand, basically your copy of Eldritch's effect, while this card's in your graveyard, you can actually add this card back to your hand, which is a really cool ability. We then play 2 copies of Zombie World. Zombie World is amazing in this deck to basically turn everything into a zombie. This card is so powerful in the build and just helps out so much in the deck. Just turn everything on the field and in both players' graveyards into zombies, especially when you want to use super polymerization. We then play 3 copies of Tuning. Tuning is great in this deck and absolutely insane because this card searches out our copy of Assault Synchron from our deck to our hand and sends the top card of our deck to the graveyard, which can get an important zombie that we need in the graveyard, which is awesome. We then play 3 copies of Goblin Biker Grand Breakout. This card helps us dodge targeting hand traps like Effect Failure and cards like Infinite Impermanence, which is really cool, so it actually lets us trigger a monster to special summon a Goblin monster directly from our deck, but it cannot attack this turn, which is a pretty cool ability to actually tribute one of our zombies on our side of the field to summon out Goblin Zombie to our side of the field, which is awesome because then we can use it as a material for a Synchro or a Link Summon to be able to get it in the graveyard to give us a search of another zombie monster, which is so cool. We then play 3 copies of Forbidden Droplets. Droplets is amazing deck to help you get more zombies into the graveyard while also halving the attack points of your opponent's monsters and negating their effects. And I feel like the board breaker strategy of this build is just really good. We then also play 3 copies of Super Polymerization. Super Poly is awesome to be able to play alongside your copy of Zombie Roll because we can summon out cards like Nether Soul Dragon to our side of the field or even the Duke of Demise using this card, which is awesome to break our opponent's board. This card is great in the builds of 3 of and just basically handles your opponent's field. So that's it for the main deck, guys. We do not play any traps. Let's get in to the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to start off with the Duke of Demise. This card is one of the most important cards in the entire extra deck, with the ability at once per turn during your standby phase, pay 500 life points or destroy this card. It cannot be destroyed by battle, and during your main phase, you can immediately effect resolves, normal summon a monster from your hand, and also banish this card from the graveyard and then target a level 4 or higher fiend or zombie monster in the graveyard and add it back to your hand. Plus, this card is super easy to summon because it just requires 2 fiends and or zombie monsters to make this card, meaning it's also an awesome super poly target, but you're usually summoning this card to your side of the field using your copy of Ghost Fusion. We play a single copy of Nether Soul Dragon. This card is an amazing super poly target using your copy of a zombie roll in the field, turning everything into a zombie, and then making this card using super poly using 2 of your opponent's zombie monsters on the field. We play a single copy of Garua. Garua is also a great super poly target in the build. We play a single copy of Pilgrim Reaper. Pilgrim Reaper is very interesting in the deck because this card is amazing to be able to play because it's basically like the zombie vampire, but it gives us an additional card being sent to the graveyard. Plus, we play a lot of level 6s in the deck with cards like Changshi and your copies of the Duke of Demise, with this card having the ability that gains 200 attack and defense for every dark monster in either player's graveyard, and you can detach a material from this card, and then each player sends the top 5 cards of their deck to the graveyard, which is a great ability just to help you get multiple cards in the graveyard using this card so we can get a bunch of zombies into the grave. Play a single copy of Yugioh, the Absolute Zero Mayakashi. This card is amazing because this card is actually a double negate, which is absolutely insane for this deck. Play a single copy of Vampire Fascinator. This card is great as well because this card actually helps us instantly bring out a zombie to our side of the field, which is awesome to help us link climb into a copy of Yugioh, which is absolutely amazing. Play a single copy of Vampire Sucker. Vampire Sucker is great to basically help us draw cards and also bring out zombies to the field. Play a single copy of SP Little Knight. SP Little Knight is great in this deck to basically just use this card to be a double interruption. Play a single copy of IP. IP is also great in this build to basically make your copy of SP as a double interruption. And play a single copy of Flying Mary. Flying Mary is great in this deck as well because this card has the ability to target one of your level 5 or higher zombie monsters that's banished from the graveyard, place this card in your spell and trap card zone, face up as a continuous spell, and if you do, special summon that monster to your side of the field. When this card is a continuous spell, you can actually target a level 5 or higher zombie monster you control and destroy a monster opponent controls with an attack less than or equal to that monster. We then play a single copy of Chaos Angel. Chaos Angel is amazing in this deck because this card just helps you spot move cards off the field, and you don't even have to use a tuner to make this card. We play a single copy of Sword Soul Supreme Sovereign. This card is crazy powerful in the deck. For each banished card, this card gains 100 attack and defense points for a monster, and your monsters your opponent control lose 100 attack and defense points. And then this card would be destroyed by card effect. You can banish a card from the grave instead. And if the card is banished, you can actually banish a card from both your opponent's field and graveyard, which is awesome. And then a single copy of Red Eyes Zombie Dragon. Red Eyes Zombie Dragon is awesome to be able to play in the build because this card helps you bring back your zombies to your side of the field during your opponent's turn. And then a single copy of Skeletal Dragon Felgram. This card is crazy powerful in the build because this card is actually a walking negate, because in this card is special summon, you can actually target a monster your opponent controls or in their graveyard and banish it. And if a monster is special summoned from either player's grave while a monster is on the field, or while this monster is on the field, you can actually target one of their face-up monster on the field and negate its effects until the end of the turn, which is a pretty cool effect to be able to use in the deck, especially with cards like Doom King in this build. Playing a single copy of Immortal Dragon. Immortal Dragon is great in this deck to be able to use because this card has the ability during your main phase, you can actually send a zombie monster from your deck to the graveyard. And when you do this, card's level becomes the difference between the original level of that monster and this card. And when your zombie monster is destroyed by battle while this card is in the graveyard, you can special summon this card but banish from Lee's field, which is a great ability, especially since this card is a tuner in the deck, to help you instantly synchro summon into other cards, or use this card as a level 6 in the deck to go over your copy of Pilgrim Reaper, which is awesome. So, that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed. This deck is super fun to be able to play. If you guys have never played a zombie world deck before, you should definitely give this deck a try because it's so fun to be able to play, especially with cards like the Duke of Demise, which is just such a powerful card to be able to make with your copy of Ghost Fusion. And zombies are just one of my favorite decks to be able to play. So, that's it for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell next to become part of the notification squad. I'll see you guys in the next video. See you, guys.